Ladies and gentlemen, this is Byron Brown, and we are here over at the Python table at the Ohio Linux Fest. We're having a blast out here, and I have a wonderful person that we're going to interview to let us know a little bit more about Python and where it's going. Let's go over and check her out right now. How you doing today?
I'm doing great, thank you.
Awesome. What's your name?
Catherine Devlin.
Awesome, awesome. Now, can you tell us a little bit about your booth and what's going on with Python?
All right, well, we are enthusiasts for Python in Ohio and the greater area, and we pretty much all have some connection to Pyohio, which is an annual regional conference. It's free, it's here in Columbus, it's at the end of every July, and we have a fantastic time. It's one of the better-known regional Python conferences out there, also one of the first. I'm an emeritus chair. Eric Floor here is another emeritus chair, yeah, or something like that. So yeah, we get a few hundred people, and then we're also standing for all the local Python user groups, which a few of them go back quite a few years, like Clippy in Cleveland. But now we've got user groups in Columbus, in Cincinnati, in Indianapolis. They're popping up all over, and if somebody wants help getting one started in their city, we'd love to help.
All right, so you're like this master at programming, right?
I'm a database administrator. I use Python because I'm not a master programmer, but I still have to write programs.
Oh,
and so
because it's just that easy to use and learn with all that power.
Exactly. I don't have to be some kind of ungodly PhD computer science, you know.
Ladies and gentlemen, I have another great booth for you right here at the Ohio Linux Fest. I'm going to introduce to you right now Mr. Craig. How you doing?
Good. My name is Craig Maloney. I'm a member of the Ubuntu Michigan Loco, also a member of the MUG, Michigan Unix Users Group, and I also do another podcast called LocoCast and OpenMetalCast.com. I'm also here with the Ubuntu Ohio Loco, sorry. It's our neighbors to the south, this way. So, what's up?
Well, we like to know a little bit about Ubuntu. We like to know about your table and what's going on here. And what are you telling people? How are you helping the community move along?
Well, we're telling them about the current release, which is Ubuntu 12.04, which was released around April. It's the long-term support release. And we're also telling them about the new release coming out, which is 12.10, which is Quetzal. It's the Q release.
We all know about them famous names.
Exactly. But we're handing out discs and as well as business cards for the Ubuntu Ohio Loco and the Ubuntu Michigan Loco, telling people to get involved with the community and support Ubuntu and support Linux.
Awesome. So when did you start using Linux yourself?
I started using Linux around back when they had old computers in 1995-ish or so. A friend of mine gave me an Ameritech Slackware disk, and it was just amazing. I started getting upset with dual booting between Windows and Linux, and I finally just started using Linux altogether full-time around 1996, 7.
Ah, so you've been Windows free from then? Yeah. So do you feel fresh now that you are shaking off the Windows?
I feel great. Every time that I go to a Windows machine, it's like I can't describe it. It's like, whenever you have to clean out the sewer system at home, it's like, oh man, you gotta have to take a shower afterward.
Ladies and gentlemen, I'm back. I got another great booth for you. We're over here at Red Hat, and we're going to interview Thomas right now. And you're going to see this all up on DistroWatch Weekly. The video cast is coming out straight to you. Without further ado, let's go ahead and check out Thomas. How you doing today?
I'm doing very well, thank you. How are you?
Awesome. Can you tell us a little bit about your booth and everything that you're doing?
Yeah, sure. So Red Hat has sent, I guess there are 6 of us now at Ohio Linux Fest. We've done presentations on topics ranging from DevOps and cloud to security enhanced Linux to performance tuning and things like that. So it's really important at Red Hat for those of us who work here to give back to the community. So we're here as presenters, and then of course we got the booth as well and giving away the stickers and the swag and talking about the things that Red Hat is up to these days. A lot of interest in, of course always the question, which distro should I use? And of course the correct answer is Red Hat or Fedora. But there's been a lot of questions about sort of where things are going from an enterprise computing standpoint, which is what we're here for, versus where things are going from a hobbyist or end user perspective, which is where the Fedora project goes.
Now, Red Hat is an absolute giant. A lot of love goes out to Red Hat for all the things that you guys have done. Wonderful things that you have done for the Linux community overall. I know that some people, you know, they don't quite understand, like, well, what's all this thing with Red Hat? I remember the first time I heard it, I was like, what in the world is Red Hat? But you guys have just been an absolute giant and total blessing to the whole community in a whole. Now, where do you think the next, say, 5 years, what are we looking at?
Man, in open source time, 5 years is geologic. There will be tectonic changes and mountains will rise and be crushed down. It's hard to say, but I'm not sure I should polish off my crystal ball. Obviously, if you look at directions in IT, cloud computing, you can't open a trade rag, you can't look at a website without seeing something about cloud computing. So obviously we're seeing conference topics about cloud computing. You're seeing Red Hat doing a lot of technical development around cloud computing, everything from open hybrid clouds, so in other words, the ability to have cloud computing resources in your corporation behind the firewall that are private, but then also the ability to scale up out into Amazon EC2 or another cloud provider. So we're doing a lot of work with a technology called CloudForms, which is actually several technologies that come together to do open hybrid computing. But then you've also got platform as a service, where people are like, I want to be able to spin up resources and bring my application up. So we've been doing a lot of work in that space with a product called OpenShift. So I think, at least for the next year, I don't know if I'm going to go 5 years out, but I think for the next year or two, you're going to see a lot of explosive development in cloud computing. We're trying hard to contribute as much as we can to the community. As you mentioned earlier, we do a lot of contribution to the community. We're not very good at blowing our own horn about that, and that's one of the reasons that, again, those of us who are in the sort of field services technical staff think it's so important to be here at the Linux Fest contributing. But it's a cool time to be in open source. Every year I say that, but every year it gets cooler and cooler, and it's definitely a cool time to be watching the explosive growth of technology around cloud computing and related topics.
Oh yeah, and it definitely is getting a whole lot cooler. That's why Linux, represented by Tux the Penguin, because only the penguin can stay cool, and you need a red hat to keep your head warm. It's that cool. I want to thank you so much for allowing us to interview you, and everybody from the Linux community and DistroWatch, just thank you very much. And I'm going to be sure to grab some of the swag here, and you'll be able to see the video up on DistroWatch Videocast. Thank you, sir. Bye-bye. Well, ladies and gentlemen, of course, we went to a brand new booth. Like I told you, we're going to keep it coming, keep it hot. We're going to check it out on the very next booth.